Welcome back from the ad break. We're going to continue with our grade 12 lesson. The topic is business strategies. As mentioned, this is the journey that will be going on in this lesson. We will be focusing on two things. It's the strategic management process and the steps in evaluating a strategy. So we are starting there with the strategic management. Remember, as a business, there should be a strategy that we're coming up across. That we need to formulate. And why are we formulating a strategy? We're formulating a strategy mainly because maybe there are challenges that we are facing as a business, and it is up to us to come up with strategies. And remember, before we choose a strategy, we are devising alternative strategies from those strategies, and then now we choose the one that we think is best, and then we implementing it and we see if it works or not. So now the strategic management process is the process that is done by the management of the business. Right. So like as mentioned, it is a process. So that process meaning it has things that needs to be done, or is the things that needs to be done. Right. So here in this strategic management process, we've got option 1 and option 2. So it is very important that you understand either option 1 or option 2, or you choose either option 1 or option 2. It's basically the same thing, so you just choose either option 1 or option 2, whichever one that works for you. However, now I'm going to explain both options, so it is up to you to choose the one that you understand best. Right, so now the first thing that we need to do as a business, we need to have a clear vision, a mission statement with measurable, realistic goals. So we need to be realistic as to what is it that we want to achieve. We are now basically creating our future. Where do we want to go? That is our future, basically vision. We are now creating our future. Where do we see ourselves, or where do you want to go as a business? And the mission is, how are we going to get to this future that we are hoping to achieve? So we need to have the vision needs to be clear, and not just clear, even the objectives, they need to be realistic. We can't be unrealistic in our goal settings. So we need to check what is it that we can do, or what is attainable and what is not attainable, what is measurable and what is not measurable. All right. The second thing that we need to do, we need to identify the opportunities or weaknesses, or the strengths or threats, by conducting what we call an environmental scanning or situational analysis. So when you are scanning, when you scan, you want to check, who are we in the market? Who are we as a business now? Who are we in the market? Who are we internally and who are we externally? If you remember, right, with opportunities, it's an external factor. It's external. Weakness is what? A weakness is internal. Then we come to the strength. Strength is also internal, but threats are what? Threats are external. This is basically your SWOT analysis. So we need to scan ourselves. Who are we in the market, so that we understand the type of strategy that we're going to come up with. It needs to be whatever strategy that we're going to decide on, it needs to be informed by us doing the environmental scanning, by scanning the environment. Right. The third thing that we're going to do, it says here, the tools available for an environmental scanning may include the SWOT analysis, or the Porter's 5 force model, or the PASTEL. And what do we call them? We call these the industrial analysis tools. Please do not forget. The industrial analysis tools comprises of those three things: the SWOT analysis, the Porter's 5 force model, and the PASTEL analysis. We're going to explain more in another lesson, but for now you must know the industrial analysis tools. So that's what we're going to do to scan the environment. Like I said above there, to say the SWOT, we are talking about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. These are external and internal factors. We're going to look at the Porter's 5 forces model. We're going to look at the PASTEL, which is a macro. It is an element of a macro environment. So you use those tools to scan the environment. And then we formulate. Don't forget, what does it mean to formulate? To develop. So we need to develop alternative strategies to respond to the challenges. Don't only limit the strategies to one strategy. You need to formulate alternative strategies to respond to the challenges. This involves different types of business strategies. So remember, we've got so many challenges as a business. Load shedding is a challenge, maybe. Not making profit is also a challenge. So we need to now devise or formulate an alternative strategies. We haven't yet put the strategy to plan, but we're still formulating. It's part of what? Of the strategic management process. Right, and then now we're going to develop an action plan, including the task that needs to be done, or deadlines to be met, or resources to be procured. So what does that mean now? In our action plan, we're going to write who's supposed to do what, when are they supposed to do that, why, for accountability purposes. So we need to know who needs to account for if in case something does not go as anticipated or as expected. So that's why we need to develop an action plan. Then from there on, we need to implement. What does it mean to implement? To put it into action now. We formulated it. We came up with an action plan whereby we wrote down like a template to say who's going to do what, when are they going to do it, and what is it that is going to be needed. As mentioned there, the resources needs to be procured. So now we're going to put our strategy into action. What does it mean here? It says implement selected strategies by communicating it to all stakeholders, by organizing the business's resources, and by motivating the staff. So you're implementing or you're putting the strategy into action by communicating. You need to inform all the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders, we are referring to your consumers. We are referring to your investors. We are referring to investors. We are referring to the employees and the employers. So the strategy needs to be communicated well so that everybody understands. And also you need to motivate the staff, because sometimes the staff is not willing to take on the new strategy. Why? Because they lack motivation. So you need to motivate them. It's very important. Right. So continuously evaluate or monitor or measure strategies in order to take corrective action. This involves the steps in evaluating a strategy. This we're going to do it at a later stage. Right, so like I said, it either option 1 or option 2, you decide. So this is our option 2. Right, option 2, it says review. All right, let's erase here. Option 2, it's a repetition basically, but it's not phrased the same. So hence I said you then choose whether you're going to go with option 1 or you're going to go with option 2, whichever one that works for you, it's fine. Right, it says here review or analyze or re-examine what? The vision and the mission statement. Remember I said vision, it says what? To create the future. Speaking of the future. Mission statement, how are we going to get there? Right. Conduct an environmental analysis using models such as the PERSTAL or PERPOTUS or SWOT. Remember, what is this? We call this the industrial analysis tools. Industrial analysis, do not forget, analysis tools. Right, so you're conducting your environmental analysis. And then you formulate a strategy such as a defensive or retrenchment strategy. So you're coming up with the strategy, and thereafter you implement, you put the strategy into action using a template such as an action plan as indicated, who's going to do what, when are they going to do it. So the time, the day, a person responsible, it's very important. That is what the action plan is all about. So we are talking about the person here, we are talking about the time, etc. Right, and then control or evaluate or monitor the implemented strategy so that you can identify the gaps or deviations in the implementation. Right, please take note, the steps may be in any order. Choose either option 1 or option 2. I've said it in any order. They don't have to follow each other as stated here. However, you can choose either option 1 or option 2. Right, the last part in option 2 says take corrective action to ensure goals or objectives are met. Don't forget, the goal of the business is to do what? So each and every business has a goal that needs to be achieved. All right, we've come to the end of the topic, the strategic management process. So we're going to go into a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to do the last part, which is the steps in evaluating a strategy. I'll see you after the break.